So anything that helps you deplete the stock from retail, which means sell-throughs, those are the marketing activities you want to put money like crazy because it's usually ROI positive. Now, for example, in-store tastings, for sure, like you yourself can do it, or you hire a person, you pay, $25 an hour, 2 hours, and that person blows your case out. Hey guys, this is Sid Patel. Welcome. Today we're going to deep dive with an entrepreneur who has this young brand, just pretty much in 25 accounts, 5 months old in his journey. And he has some questions about his brand on how to navigate the market, how to sell into the retail, the restaurants, the distributor. So I thought this would be a great, call to have Arthur on the call, ask me questions. And this will really help other brand owners because the question that he sort of asked me, I thought it's best to record on the video because some good questions were there. So Arthur, why don't you give us a little context about where you are in your journey for the brand, and we'll just kickstart, and then you can start off with your questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks again for taking some time for me. So yeah, like you mentioned, I've been distributing this brand for about 6 months. I started in May. It's an unfiltered vodka brand that I've been working on for a couple of years, but in distribution, it's been about 5 months, 6 months. And I wasn't in the alcohol industry before this, so there'll be a theme in a lot of these questions that sort of resonates with inexperience and just trying to learn the industry a little bit. So that's kind of where I am. I'm the sole salesperson in the company, so a lot of door kind of knocking, trying to get the spirit in front of some people and get some tastings done. So that's kind of where a lot of these questions are coming.
Sure. Just one thing I want to ask you. Who's distributing? Like, what kind of licenses you have? Do you have which states are you in, and do you have a license to fulfill orders in retail?
I have a license in New York State, in New Jersey, and California right now. I'm using alc-bev to distribute. Okay. So they are filling all the orders.
Understood. So perfect. Like, this is an exact thing, like a classic thing where you don't wait, you get started. This is exactly what you should do. Get started, get it going, whichever way, alc-bev, MSW, Park Street model, whatever it takes, get it going. And then as you start building, as you start account, as you start reselling, you onboard distributors. So I think it's a good start.
Yeah, that's exactly sort of the path I'm on. I listened to your talk on how to get into a distributor a week or two ago, and a lot of it was sort of something in the future for me, so not something I could utilize today, but it was super helpful in the sense of giving me a target to aim for. So that was nice. So because of the fact that I haven't been in the industry before and haven't really done a lot of sales, sort of my first question is, if you were speaking to a salesperson, somebody you were onboarding, what are some expectations that you might set as far as number of accounts visited in a given week, accounts opened in a given month, just some like general guidelines that just to give me a sense of things that that I should be trying to aim for.
Sure. So I think let's clarify. A lot of people when a sales rep works for a brand or a company, they call that as a brand ambassador, and I don't like that word. Usually brand ambassadors are like advertisement billboards or building consumer awareness. So we'll call it as a sales rep. It is what it is, and that's a good thing, right? So the question is, let's say, what do you look for, and what do you tell them, and what should be the metrics of a brand sales rep, for example, in your case. And it should be exactly like a distributor's sales rep. And the metrics usually are 80 accounts a week, Monday to Thursday. They knock doors, 12 on an average to 14 on an average, because half of them can be a no-show. Hey, come again later, and only 6 or so they would end up actually sampling or talking to, right? So 80 is something which you want to measure on, that which 80 accounts did you went, what did you do there? Was it a no-show? Did you meet? Did you sample the product? What is the conversion status? If you sampled, liked, disliked, follow-up, if it's a follow-up, then it comes back in the sales sheet that what happened to the follow-up. And as we
Mm-hmm.
say that, if it's not a clear no, it's still in the follow-up, right? So you got to do the sales,
Got
exactly
it.
the process with the person. But coming to your
Mm-hmm.
questions, 80 accounts is a normal route in this business. It's called a route. So Monday to Thursday, you follow your route. Like, you go in the Queens maybe and that area. Let's say Monday, you go in the Brooklyn area on Tuesday, and so on. You have a route to follow. You give them a map, you give them the accounts, and you make a route for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Got it. Okay.
Friday and Saturday is usually used for relationship building, in-store tastings and merchandising and deliveries. In your case, because you're so small, maybe you will have to yourself take some cases and give it to them. So your sales rep can do in his own routes. It's much better way. You don't need to be fancy and have another car roaming around for the delivery. Let the guy take the three cases and one bottles and two cases and here and there and fulfill their deliveries and merchandise at the same time, and then maybe do a tasting if the person allows at 2 p.m. to whatever 3 p.m. or so on, right? So I
Yep.
think Fridays and Saturdays, you measure them on how many tastings. So let's say when I used to myself do it, it was easily I was aiming two tastings for Friday, and two on Saturday. Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
usually, people don't work. It's just a tasting thing. So you want to do like 4 to 5 and 5 to 6, or 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. Those are the prime times for having in-store tasting placements and work going. So I think as far as the last metric, opening new accounts, is usually 5 new accounts a week. So one a day, at least new deal should be a ambitious target. If you're doing that, it's good.
Okay. So, sorry, just say that last part again. 5 new accounts per week or one a day is kind of what you're targeting.
Yeah, as far as opening new accounts goes. So,
Got it.
how many new accounts? Ultimately, once you penetrate, you will have your 80, right? But when you're starting, you have nothing. So you're going to aim for opening one a day at least as a brand new
Mm-hmm.
account. But then once you have your 80, you manage those accounts and you still, filter out the bottom five and add another new five. Which, idea
Oh,
is to make sure that your volume grows in the 80 current accounts eventually.
okay. And then filter out bottom five as in places that aren't
Filter
selling
out
for.
meaning you don't need to go every week, right? Some people are just buying less from you. They don't need much. They just need that one wine or one spirit, one something. So that's like once a month. Some are once every 2 weeks, not like every week.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Um, that's all super helpful. Yeah, that's really, really helpful to like
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm trying to accomplish every day. Okay, excellent. So, okay, next question here. So once I get a buyer's information, so let's say I walk into a retail store and
Mm-hmm.
I get the name and email of somebody. What
Mm-hmm.
is there? Are there any tips or tricks that you're using on the email? Is there a template that you're using? How do you get attention in that sort of initial cold email that you're writing?
So again, start with hey, hey John, just dropped by your store. I just wanted to say hello to you. Just came in to introduce myself, and wanted to start doing some business with you. I did went around your store and I saw that you do sell this 4 or 5 vodkas, and I just asked you a person, how were the vodka sales? He said, they were doing good or they were doing bad, whatever it is, the truth, and then I just wanted to see how my vodka can help you grow your vodka sales. And looking at where you are, I'm normally comparing my vodka with Grey Goose, which you placed at $44. Mine will be 42, and I'm sure my goal is to make you more net margin and to make sure that it sells more than your category leader. So if you allow me a chance, I would love to come again. Obviously, once you like the product and once you like the pricing, I just want to make sure that I come Friday or Saturday and blow that case out for you. Just wanted an opportunity to talk. So the last bit is usually depending on how much deeper you did your research and you feel confident. But I would stop. I would not go in the pitch in the first email itself if you have a feeling that it's very cold. So you just say, hey, when can I come, John? I just came Just show them you came, you saw the store, you spoke with the person, you spoke with Alex, just said hello. I just wanted to come back. What's a good time? So that's goal first phase. Second, if you have a good feel that wow, you really can have that product fit in his store and making money, then you add that other bit as well.
Got it. That's super helpful. Yeah. Yeah. So like nice and casual, saying here's what I can offer you versus asking them if they could do something for you. I remember
First is
talking
always asking for time. That's it. When can I meet? And then creating a rapport that you did see his store, you did see that Grey Goose was at 44. You did see that there was a 3K stack of this vodka. You did see ask Alex that vodka sales are good. You did ask him that January was a slow vodka sales. So add some actual stuff that
some color.
what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. The store. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. So for a small brand like mine, I have sort of a limited amount of marketing and advertising dollars to spend. I try and get as many tastings as possible. Once I get my product in front of people, it goes great. But what would you recommend as far as marketing and ad spend? Where do you think I get the best bang for the dollar?
Best ROI for any new brand, at least in the first 3 years. I think I'm a big believer in putting money back in the trade, right? So anything that helps you deplete the stock from retail, which means sell throughs, those are the marketing activities you want to put money like crazy because it's usually ROI positive. Now, for example, in-store tastings, for sure, like you yourself can do it, or you hire a person, you pay, $25 an hour, 2 hours, and that person blows your case out, but that's still a marketing expense. You can put it that way, even if it's not ROI, but that's the best because you're creating consumers for your brand. You're putting liquid. When I sold like a lot of, I dealt with a lot of immigrant retailers, especially in New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland area. Like these are really hardcore people who've been in their liquor store for 25 years, right? So their wisdom was simply, put the juice in the mouth and build the brand, old style. Put as many liquid, as many mouths as possible, scalable, and you build your brand. Nothing else, just keep pouring, just keep pouring, just keep store tastings. So that's one good wisdom there. So that's number one, I would say. Second is obviously the free goods and deals, like 1 on 5 and 3 on 10 and all that. You may know, 6 bottles on a whatever, like 3 cases, 1 bottle on a case, and don't make it sound like when what happens is when you say that, hey, this is $12 a bottle, but I'll give you 2 bottles free, that then the buyer is already thinking, what nonsense, you just give me a flat low price, right? So it's how you say it. So you say, I'll give you the best pricing, which is a 5 case drop. I'm giving you just to get started. This is the lowest price because ultimately I want you to buy 3 cases and still make those margins. So I want to make sure that at 1 case also you make the margin. And once really, you get his buying in, you say, John, you decide what works best for you in your store, but I want to make sure that what I'm selling you sell throughs in 2 weeks. So if it's 1 case, I want to make sure it goes out in 2 weeks. So you tell me, do you think that if I give you $100, if you sell that 2 cases flat, it's better, American Express Visa card, or I come Friday and Saturday and do it? I don't know what's legal, John, here in your, how do you work? But my goal, my intent is to just make sure it sells through. So you tell me, where can I invest? I have this $100. How do I do it? Shall I call 2 tasting girls and make sure it works? So you just ask him what works best, but with a very different intent, that you're not just giving away money here. You want to build a brand and you want to sell through. You want to prove a case that you are a good supplier who understands the sell through of the business we are in. Then comes I don't know if your cases are branded or not, but floor stacks, branded cases are very important. That white cartons are bad. So for sure, you should invest in a branded case because then that becomes, then that becomes a case stack, like a shelf talker case card, and a 3 case stack is the best investment. Like a simple 3 case stack, a case card goes behind, and shelf talkers, there.
Mm-hmm.
So try that. Merchandising is very good. And then if you say, hey, can I just get this 3K stack here at the entrance, and I'll pay you $50 every month, just give me 2 months, put it there. I assure you my brand will keep selling,
Mm-hmm.
so
Got it. So ask the
floor
store.
positionings.
I see. So ask the store to physically hold the cases that they purchase at the front of the store
Yeah, but
with my brand on.
you want to make sure that brand is selling. The last thing that they hate seeing in their face a display which is not moving.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay.
So
Yeah.
they will expect you to pay money for the spot that you're asking. One, so
Mm-hmm.
give that money. That's a good investment. Second,
Mm-hmm.
come and do tastings and deplete the stock. So those are the places that I would invest money initially. And then as you start building more states and distribution, then the trade, journals and magazines, but then they can become a little expensive right now, so something like Market Watch or Beverage Dynamics or Beverage Journal 750. So the best way to do is, ask, go when you're knocking doors to the retailers, see the magazines. I used to always do that. See the magazines that are sitting on their tables, on their floors, in their offices, where they have their administrative work. Ask the rep that, hey, what magazine does the owner normally refers to? Which magazines he consumes his information? Those are the
Got it.
magazines that you want to really. 70% of our trade, especially the retail, this whole East Coast area, they are not on internet, so they will just literally go with those traditional things
Oh, that's so
in their
interesting.
office.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm
Okay.
talking about retail. Sommeliers and
Right,
bartenders have their own little communities going on. Word of mouth is big there.
right. Yeah, actually, that leads nicely into the next question. So I think, right, everything we've been saying so far has been in approach to retail. I'm starting to reach out to more bars and restaurants now. Um, what are your thoughts on approaching those places as compared to retail?
So bars and restaurants basically will be an expensive exercise. The cost of a sale for a bar, as you know, it just sounds very weird. Like you got to go there, spend money to eat, build a rapport, and then the guy orders one case. Just it just sounds very negative ROI. But
Does
here's
feel that
what.
way.
So how I looked at is, and the reality is, brands are built on trade. So how you got to measure is that, did you get a menu placement? So if you got a permanent menu placement, let's say your vodka is now printed in the menu, that's a good victory for advertisement play as well. So you just can't measure completely that one case here and one case retail, what it took me. But here you're actually, you can, how you use it, that, okay, my vodka is in this 10 amazing bars. My vodka is the house pour at this bar. So it's how you are using it. So when my wine was like $7 Australian Shiraz, which was exactly like Yellowtail value wine, and Cipriani Wall Street, New York had a house pour of my wine, I just used that like crazy sales feel, because Cipriani Wall Street is the most prestigious sort of restaurant of Wall Street, pouring a $6.99 Australian Shiraz.
Yeah,
It's how I used it, right? So if you have to use the most prestigious and happening bar in the town or this and that, then you give a deal or whatever it is, but use it well.
got it. I see. Yeah. So treat them more like advertising banners rather than like.
Exactly. Because initially cost will just not, yeah, unless you are a house pour or something
Right.
like that, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm a more expensive vodka, so yeah, nobody's buying
Yeah,
it
I mean,
for the.
I can go deeper, but I want to have more, faster questions, because otherwise, I mean, you can always influence the bartender, and there are many other ways, to sort of make sure they are on board to help you deplete. But I think initially, as I said, the strategy would be, have key accounts, focus on the retail, get the cash flow going, because the cash flow will come from the retail, and
Yep.
then start building more and more, on trade later on.
Excellent. Okay. Great. So earlier you mentioned kind of trying to get to 80 accounts. Is that sort of the number you think I should be going after before approaching a distributor or somebody who might take on my brand?
No, that's just for your sales reps KPI. If you're hiring someone full time, or if someone was
I
doing
see.
full time job of
Got
just
it.
selling your product, this is the number. That's just their full time job. But if you
Got
even if you have like 10 accounts, if you have one pallet, let's put it in the quantity. If you have one pallet of pre-sale, then you
it.
can approach. You know,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I
But
think
that's
that's a good number
yeah.
to for them to start with, because that's anyway the number they start with.
Got it. I see. Okay, so they start with the palette and see how it goes. Okay, great.
Usually, yeah. The problem with see how that goes is you don't want that. You want to make sure that, hey, So on that question, I would say this way, like how I would approach is, hey, John, I've got this 10 accounts. They've committed this. I assure you, you take the pallet and it will go out from your warehouse in 48 hours. The deliveries and everything is confirmed. You can call them also. Your office person can call and confirm everything, and then you place me the order. I come there, train your sales reps. Just one ask, John, is I make sure that 56 cases a pallet is sold by me, but can you also buy 56 cases, because we're going to need it again immediately. And also I want you to sort of take to your accounts. So I can assure you that in the first 6 months, whatever you buy from me and sell yourself, I'll put an effort equally, to sell from my effort. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get started. So you buy two pallets and let's get started. And one pallet, as I told you, I'm going to deplete immediately.
I see.
And
And
these
then
are the
a
orders.
distributor, right? And a distributor normally they do their own tastings, or do they want me to be involved as well?
No, they'll do their own. You just have to give them the markups and everything. So it's like traditional distributor. They'll manage their own everything. But that's another subject of distributor programming, and like the whole
Right.
other support that you can give.
Got it. Okay. And so as far as organizations or groups or podcasts or general resources in the industry of alcohol, is there things you recommend, or books? Um, is there things you recommend that are sort of must have access to, or um, things that you're really missing out if you're not on top of X podcast or X magazine?
I think again, read what your buyer is reading.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great
So
tip.
that is, I always want to see where their attention is and where they're consuming their knowledge, and that's where I sort of go normally. When if I was selling anything.
Yeah,
Uh, so that is one, and then you just find out, as I said, like you see what's on the shelf. I just throwed you some
yeah,
names, but as far as podcast and all goes, I mean, there are zillions and millions. But for you, I normally consume knowledge of based on the phase that I am in. So right now, okay, I'm just doing this cold calling and I'm building my brand. So I'm going to read about sales and distribution and knocking doors.
got it. Okay,
Not about Australian wines versus French wines and
sure.
master of wine or master sommelier kind of thing, right? That just doesn't matter. And then you find some podcasts, like for example, I'm not a full time podcaster or I have a whole business, but I know that the content I'm putting is actually the best, but it's just I just don't do anything about it properly,
Sure.
as
Yeah.
far as the sales and distribution goes.
Right.
So our views maybe it must be 50 on YouTube video, but I know the meat inside the person I've got is sort of the best, in the interview. So there are a lot of people like me also who have seen the world, done the world, but have a business to run. So I would listen to them more than just purely a consultant who've never even sold a case or run a business and then advising about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, for sure. The most valuable piece of information I've gotten from people who've been kind enough to share their experience. That's been, yeah, absolutely critical resource for me at this point. I'm currently using just an Excel spreadsheet to kind of keep track of things, and I'm finding it sort of a bit lacking. Are there any CRMs that you recommend that you've used or have seen other people use that sort of seem to be
I
valuable
mean,
but
for
keeping
for
follow
such a
ups?
small data set, I personally am bad at using CRMs, but HubSpot is something that is good. Have you
HubSpot.
heard of HubSpot, HubSpot?
It's one of the ones I've seen on like lists of good CRMs. I've seen it show up once or twice, so it's good that you mentioned it. So
Yeah,
check
so
it out.
it's basically they have a sales hub, which is the HubSpot's. I mean, HubSpot is actually very good uh,
Yeah, great.
because it links sort of the newsletter to customer service to a lot of other things, and it's for the small and medium sort of companies. I think it's free version to $20 a month and whatnot, so it's not crazy expensive.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a free one and then slightly $4. Um, okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll check that one out. So I mentioned that the vodka is sort of on the more premium side of things. Um, I don't know how common this is, but I'm at about $25 a bottle at one case, and then it drops in more cases. But the retail stores I'm in range from being on the shelf from like $32 all the way up to $45. Are there conversations that you have normally where you say things like, look, I really need to be at this price point, how to get to this price point on the shelf? Or do you let the retailer sort of do what feels right for them in the store?
Yeah, good question. So I think the word one has to use is called recommended retail pricing,
Okay, yeah,
RRP. So this is our recommended retail price, Mr. Retailer. So if you're and you need to add 40% for sure. So if you're giving them at $25, $39.99 is what I would go with, recommended retail.
okay, okay,
You know,
cool.
uh,
That's good. Yeah,
and then you just tell, and then you just say that, and then you don't say anything. Like it's up to them, to be honest.
got it.
Uh,
Yeah, right. So you can
yeah,
ask politely, but that's
yeah.
the
You,
thing.
you're just going to say that, hey, here's $24, and this vodka is doing very good at $39.99. So I would definitely, that's our recommended retail selling price, which allows you to make 40% margin, John. But end of the day, it's your shot. If you feel like making more margin, you can try at 44, 45 as well. But I personally think that $39.99 is a good value to build a repeat
Yeah.
customer. So if you want to try at least for first month on that, you can try, or you can try 44 and put a sale, after a month or something at 39 and give it a go that way. Also, it's completely your store, John. It's up to you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I've gotten the response from a fair amount of retailers that they feel like my brand is priced more than they want. From your perspective, what should I strive to get my margin to be? Like, where should I be pricing myself?
Price is based on the cost as well, right? So I can say $19, but I don't know if that means nothing, right? So for example, let's assume that you have to make 30% first of all. Your distributor have to make 35%. Your retailer have to make 40%. You have
Yep.
to keep 10% for programming and marketing. Okay, now do the math
Yep.
where it ends up at. So if your cost right now is, let's say, $20, for example, that means that you have to sell to your distributor at, I guess, 28 or 29 at least.
Mm-hmm.
So don't make sure that you don't sacrifice on the margin, because you will just waste time of your life, money of your life, and you will end up
Yeah.
nowhere.
Got it.
So if you're building even on slowly, make it a profitable journey. I've done a lot of adventures in my life, and I would not advise uh, people to assume and think that let me start, build a brand, and then markups will come later. That's just not possible. Once you give that deal, the retailer is always going to ask more and more. Even Budweiser
Yeah.
will have to give deals today. forget about who are you and I, even they, every order have to beg for an order to get in, including Grey Goose of the world, right? So, so I think start with a healthy margins for everyone, not just yourself. So that means even if it ends up at $49, you just reverse engineer the whole strategy in a different way, But then the real question is, the hardest question is, is this a dream or are you really a product market fit there? Because if the retailer is saying it's expensive, that is true. Like that is true, right? If they're saying, because they know that it's just going to collect dust, they are putting money on that case, and if it's just not going to move, it's just not going to move, right? So then the whole strategy can be changed to a bar, maybe an expensive boutique bars. So it depends on where and how you want to do. Like if I did any ultra luxury category, I had premium wines and all that stuff. Then even margins are even higher. Like in fact, it should be 80 to 100%.
I see.
That's how the industry works. I mean, not many people know, but it's crazy when it goes 40 and above, especially in spirits and wine, for sure. You're talking about 100% markups.
Oh, that's really good to know. Right. Okay. So it's not the other way around. I see.
Yeah. Because you're going to move slow. It's a thicker margin. You got to have a premium positioning and all that stuff.
So as of right now, I'm the only salesperson here. Do you recommend me? So I can't afford to bring staff on, that are salary positions. Would you recommend me trying to find people to do sales to help on a commission basis, even if it's like a part-time situation? Or do you think that the message is going to get lost and
I think I got the question. I think the message or nothing's going to get lost. You're just not going to be able to retain the salesperson because they have to make 4,000 to 5,000 a month. Now do the math yourself. For that, how much they have to sell. Now the real question is, do you think they'll be able to sell this much, right? So what I would do is I would tell them that, hey, I'll cover your expenses. So your gas, your food and whatnot. So that's $500 a month. I'll pay you, $500 at least to wake up and pay attention to my, and feel safe a little bit for your home bills. So 1,000 is what I'm committing you minimum, no matter if you sell one bottle or 1,000. Now 10% commissions I'll give you, and let's chat after 3 months. Let's see where we are. I want to make sure, my goal is that you make 4,000 a month at least overall as an average, to start liking the job. So in 3 months, I'll try pushing and train you and whatnot, and let's keep both of us rolling and make sure that you reach that stage. Otherwise, I know that it's not going to work for either of us because it's just not going to work. If they don't have a financial 4 to 5K sort of thing, there it's no way. And unless they don't have a full-time commitment, this thing just doesn't work. Unfortunately, it's a chicken and egg problem, which most of us face when building a sales force.
Yeah. I see.
And once they have, once you give them 80 accounts, let's imagine after 1 year, then you hiring someone, you saying, here are your 80 accounts. This part of New York is yours. We already do business of 200,000 a year here. And if you take that business and grow it to 400,000, you'll make from 40K to 80K. But 40K is minimum. I'm giving you the 40K business of commissions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This
Cool.
is very, very helpful. I really appreciate it. Yeah.